quote? Well, if we were going to hold this note, or if we were flipping it to a private investor, then I would have you pull out my note evaluation worksheet and do the setup, my 4 infallible steps that help you to know how to calculate a mortgage. Everybody raves about this. It's something that I personally came up with. I've never seen anybody else do it. But if you use this form, it will help you immensely, and it will keep you from making a mistake when you're giving a quote. However, on this particular example, this webinar tonight, I want to show you how you can buy a note without even picking up the calculator. Okay, so in this case, we're going to rely on the institution to run all the numbers. We're not even going to start this evaluation worksheet. Okay, so if you're not going to evaluate, how do you know what to quote? Well, it's real simple. You're going to do exactly what I did when I started many years ago. And that is, you are going to send your submission form to 3 different institutional buyers. Where are you going to find them? You are going to go online and simply Google note buyers, and you'll get a whole list of them. You do want to make sure that you're dealing with a real principal buyer. That means they're using their cash to buy the note. What you don't want to do is find one of my other students who have a website and they're using it just to pull in deals as a marketing tool, because then what's going to happen is you're going to split the profit with another student, when if you had gone directly to the financial institution yourself, you don't have to share it with anybody. Okay. Now, once you have been in the business for a while and you have looked at a number of notes, then at that point, you can, Matthew, you want to put the camera back on for a sec, please? Once you have been in the business, then you will have a good idea of what a note is worth. Okay, I have looked at so many notes that I don't need to get somebody else's opinion. Just today, like I hate quoting and saying this is what my average buy rate is or anything like that. But for the sake of teaching, I will tell you this, that in today's market, if I were quoting on a top note, you know, everything is perfect about it, I would probably I would expect that note to bear an 8% buy rate. Okay, if I were going to, I should say, if I'm like selling that to an investor, I would offer my investor an 8% rate of return on a really, really nice Class A note. Now, of course, the more things that are wrong with it, you know, no seasoning, no down payment, you know, all that kind of stuff, then I'm going to bump that rate of return up, because your rate of return needs to match the risk that's involved. Why do I not want to tell people that I typically, on a great note, will offer them an 8% return? The reason is, to them, their note is perfect, regardless of what might be wrong with it. Okay, and so don't back yourself into a corner. And because when somebody asks you, well, what do you usually quote? Can you just give me a ballpark idea? You don't respond to that, because I promise you, you're costing yourself the deal, because there's no correct answer. If you give them too low of a number, then when you go to quote, you won't be able to get the deal because you're going to quote it higher. If you give them too high of a number, then it's going to backfire on you as well. It's like you can't win in that situation. So if somebody does ask you, just give me a ballpark, your pat answer should always be, I don't have a set rate of return that I'm looking for. I actually analyze each deal on its own merits. And so if you will just give me a few minutes, it won't take more than 5 or 10 minutes. I just need some basic information, and then I will put a pencil to it, and I will get back with you and tell you to the penny exactly what I will pay for that note. And by the way, there's no obligation. If you don't like the quote, it's no problem. You can, you're not out anything but just a few minutes of your time. Okay, so that's what you want to say when that happens. Okay, so let's go on. And what you want to do, like I said, was you want to send your submission form to 3 different institutional buyers. And then when you get these 3 quotes back, that will give you a good ballpark idea of what this note is worth. And so what I